This is b4Nashville Live. For a guest. And if you like to be a messenger. Here's your host,
George Davis. And welcome back to Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. Tonight, joining me is right now 2/3 of the band that's signed to Fate Entertainment. It's a newly formed country rock infused band. I love that title. And they're called Nashvillians. They're made up of musicians and writers Troy Johnson. Troy's up there on the upper right. Right below he and I is Brett Boyett. That's correct? Is that the right way to say that?
Yeah, Brett Boyett. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And then Scott Lindsey, and Scott's having some technical difficulties. Which the last time we did this, the guys know that I am not, immune to that.
Are you good? I think last time.
Yeah, not at all. We weren't. That time we were all having. I think Brett was the only one not having difficulty.
And I was in Mexico.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it was a mess.
Go figure.
So they couldn't hear me. I could hear them, and I just let them go on with the show for a little bit and just do their thing.
That's true. I think
you guys were great hosts, by the way. So let's talk a little bit. Troy, we'll start off with you. Give us a little background about Troy, how you got into music, and kind of what your life was a couple of years ago when you were a youngster.
A couple of years ago when I was a youngster. That's very kind of you. I've always been into music. Ever since I was a really little kid, 5 years old, I was singing all the time. I was, in school, there's stories of me getting called down by the teacher because I was singing too much and not paying attention. So it was from a very early age, it was very clear that it was at least a possibility that I could, at least go this direction, musical direction. I grew up in Houston, Texas. I would sing in church. I sang in bands when I was a kid, and I ended up going to Belmont University here in Nashville. I wasn't actually going to go to college because I couldn't find one that I wanted. Well, that's not altogether true. The one I wanted to go to Boston to go to Berkeley, and that was just way too expensive and out of my reach. So I told my mom, well, I'm just going to go. I'm going to learn a bunch of cover songs on piano and go play at a bar. And she goes, well, let me tell you something. That's not what you're going to do. So she said, by no means are you going to do that. So she went ahead and found, with the band I was working with at the time, the producer of our band had recently moved to Nashville, and he told my parents about Belmont. So we checked it out. I fell in love. I came up here to Belmont. It was there that I learned how to play guitar, that I sort of honed my songwriting, prowess.
You can tell co-writers, I'm finishing his sentences for him.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So anyway, I went to Belmont, and while I was there, I realized, hey, you can, I fell in love with the songwriting community and found out that you could actually just write songs and make a living doing that. And so that was what I set out to do. And about a year later, after I went to Belmont for about a year and a half. And during that time, I put together a demo that we did. We recorded some stuff at Soundstage back in the early 90s. With my roommate was an engineer, and he was interning at Soundstage, and he was able to get me some downtime, which basically means the studio is available to the people that work there if there's no session booked. So he got me in there, and we did a couple of songs, and one of those songs was a song called "Some Days You Gotta Dance," which is something I wrote a long time ago. And
how's that
particular? Huh?
How's that go, Troy?
How's that go? Well, you'll have to check it. You'll have to check that out on the Dixie Chicks Fly record.
Ah, there you go.
to get onto iTunes and actually drink, so that at least I'll get a couple of.
Yeah, you get a couple of tenths of a penny, for
Exactly. So anyway, that's in a nutshell. That's kind of a background of how I got from A to B, and I've been in the business for a long time, and met Brett along the way, and he approached me about this band, and I said, "Hey, Scotty, what's going on?"
And Troy said, "Hey, maybe I'll be in the
Yeah. I said, "Hey, I said maybe let's keep talking."
Yeah.
Right.
Can you hear me?
We got you, man.
Yeah, you sound good, buddy.
Yeah.
You're loud and proud now.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right.
We're all represented now.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Brett, let's talk a little bit about your beginnings in the wide world of music.
How far back do you want me to go?
Oh,
I went back to age 5. Hello.
Yeah. Anything past birth. I mean, if you came out of the womb singing, then you're a child prodigy. We could talk about that, but
well, I'll tell you, my first instrument was.
Hey, I never said prodigy, George.
Give me the big head.
My first instrument was a alto sax, and then I started learning piano. I hated it. I was forced to compete in piano and play classical piano, and I'm so glad I did that, but I hated every second of it because I wanted to play Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder and Elton John and Billy Joel at the time. And I ended up I ended up busting tables. My parents said, "You are absolutely not going to ever play guitar. You'll end up in a band someday." I'm like, "No, I won't." Like, if you ever buy a guitar, you're going to end up in a band. I was like, "No, I'll never end up in a band." So So here I am.
After 4 or 5 bands later.
Yeah. So I did. I busted tables for a whole summer at a restaurant in Colorado, and I went to a pawn shop and bought a Fender Stratocaster for $400, and that was my first guitar. That was
a way to rebel against the parents.
Heck yeah, and they were right about everything. They're like, "Oh, you're going to want to grow your hair out long," and we were like the fundamentalist Baptists at the time. I was like, "No, I won't. I've got long hair." So they were right about everything. Now I went to college in Texas, and I studied classical guitar under Robert Guthrie, who's a really famous guitar player, flamenco guitar player. I actually graduated with forensic archaeology major. Go figure. But I met a guy named James Hawley who played bass for George Jones when I was in Dallas, Texas. And he said, "Hey, I played him some of my songs I was writing in Texas as I was playing in all these country bands and bars all over Texas. I played him some of my songs. He was like, "Man, you want to think about moving to Nashville, Tennessee, and learn, and go right with the big dogs." And because I grew up on country, I grew up doing rodeo, and I just love country. I always have loved country music, and ended up going to Nashville and befriending a couple really well-known songwriters and learning from them, and then moved to New York. I didn't have any success in Nashville at that point, so I moved to New York. I was playing rock bands, writing pop music in New York. But then I got a call from a guy named Steve Dorff, who had heard some of my music and said, "Hey, do you want to come out to LA and work in TV with me?" So because I knew how to do Pro Tools and I knew all the engineering stuff, and I was like, "Well, yeah," because I had taught myself, and he's a Hall of Fame songwriter, and I was like, "Well, yeah, this is an opportunity to work for Steve Dorff. That's amazing." So I went out to LA, and I did Reba with him, first TV show I ever did. I was his music editor for that, and then I did a couple different shows with him. Then I worked for Rick Murata, who's a drummer who did Everybody Loves Raymond. I music engineered for him and edited, and I did a little bit of writing, not much. Those guys are the main composers, and then Snuffy Walden, I worked for him, Friday Night Lights, and a bunch of other shows. And along the way, I was producing music myself for albums, and I started scoring as well. I started scoring different TV shows and commercials and movies. And right before we met, and actually the reason we met, I was scoring a movie called Forever My Girl, which is the poster right behind me. That was did pretty well. It actually did really well, and I ended up doing a whole soundtrack where I was producing like Lauren Alaina and Travis Tritt and Josh Turner and Little Big Town and a bunch of other artists, and I met Troy because somebody suggested Troy as the demo singer, and I was in LA, in my studio in LA, and I was actually sharing a studio with Paul Overstreet, who's another big songwriter in LA. And I was suggested Troy as a demo singer, and I tried him out. I was like, "Wow, this guy's voice is amazing! I absolutely loved his voice." And so he did, like, I think most of the demos for me for Universal Records for the artists that I was working with. He ended up singing a lot. I think a lot of the backgrounds on the soundtrack as well for me. And I met Scott. Scott was out in LA doing a songwriter festival and came by the studio. We had a mutual friend in common in Tim Gates from the band Due West. And,
Tim Gates.
Yeah, Tim Gates. That's right.
Yeah. I like that shirt. Boy, I wrote that song.
But Scott came by and we were writing a song for the movie that didn't make the movie. Sorry, Scott, I'm going to step all over you because I know you.
Yeah.
He loves pointing it out. You're taking his fire away from him.
Yeah.
But we wrote a song. We wrote a song. Didn't make the movie, but we started talking. I had this band name, Nashvilians. I was like, man, there's a singer in Nashville I've been working with. I've never met him in person, but I've been working with him over the internet, and he's been singing demos for me. Guys, I love his voice, and I was thinking about I'm going to move back to Nashville, and I'd love to get a meeting with this guy. And Scott and I were like, well, we should do it together. And he's like, well, hey man, I know Troy, I know that guy, I know that singer. So
we write for the same company.
Yeah.
I said, hell, his office is across the hall, so this is calling.
Yeah. So anyways, we're back to present day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I got to ask this because you said that you were doing some engineering for the TV show Reba.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, my wife is a diehard fan of that show. I've seen every rerun probably 10 times.
Oh, cool.
We watch it. I mean, we go to sleep to it like every night because it's on CMT out here.
Yeah. Well, Steve and I we only did the first season of that show, and Jonathan Wolf, he's the composer who also did Seinfeld. He actually got the second season going forward. But Steve is an amazing composer and did a great job. So
right,
that just happens with relationships and whatever happened. But that we did the first season of that show and a bunch of other shows after that.
That's pretty cool. So. Scotty, we'll bring you into the mix now. We're just kind of going back and finding out early years and how you got from Point Baby to Point Nashvillian.
Yeah. Well, how far back we going, you say?
He said Point Baby.
Yeah.
Baby. Well, I was the best swimmer in the.
Typical Scott.
We can all count
Was
that,
that too early? Was that too early? That's too early, right?
Yeah, it's too early. That's a little early. Yeah.
I've always been around music. My dad's a singer-songwriter, and I mean, I got cousins that are world famous thumb pickers, and then being here in Kentucky where I'm from, Bill Monroe is like his home place is like 5 miles up the road. So bluegrass is always around. I was always around it. I thought everybody in the world played music, baseball, and basketball. I didn't know any better. So Dad used to write with a guy named Tommy Collins, who wrote Roots of My Raise and Run Deep for Merle Haggard and New Patches for Mel Tillis, among many others. But he used to come up and we'd go fishing, and he and Dad would write some songs. And that's where I really got the bug, because I'd see them in there working on songs in the kitchen, and I'd go write down my I love you, you love me kind of thing, and I'd bring it in the kitchen, they'd critique it for me, and I go back and fix what they told me was wrong. You know, kind of like what Troy does to me now.
Hey, somebody's got to be the dad.
True story.
So you never get away from it, do you?
But yeah, so I took that, and I knew I wanted to be in Nashville and write songs because I was always around it. Dad, we would come down to Nashville, and I mean, we go hang out with Tommy. I got to meet Johnny Russell, and you know, I got to meet. I met Johnny Cash and all these people when I was young.
Wow.
You know, so I got the bug early. You know, so I came to Nashville. I was always back and forth with Dad, but I came to Nashville originally on my own. I went to Belmont, and as did Troy. But I was studying classical and jazz guitar there. I always wrote, but I never really studied songwriting other than just, you know, on my own, you know. But that's what brought me to Nashville originally, and
Right.
so I mean, I was in and out of bands, but my main focus was writing, and done every job in the world while I was down there. You know, even taught school for 9 years, you know, but I was a limo driver and bartender, and you know, I think I was even a stripper for a week, you know, but that's a whole other.
That's for a whole nother podcast.
I don't.
That was all cash. That was all cash under the table.
I actually don't ever want to hear that story.
Hey, times was hard and I needed tuition money, man.
I don't ever want to hear that story.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. No, but around the same time as I was doing songwriters things around town. Debbie Champion had a thing over at Commodore Lounge. No, it wasn't Commodore then. It was out on Trinity Lane, the Broken Spoke.
Oh yeah.
And me and my buddy Josh Osborne started doing those out there, and then he and I put a band together, and we played down at Tootsie's for about a year and a half or so. And then me and Josh wrote a song called "You Only Come When You're Drunk." I got a record deal on that song. So as I was going all over the country promoting that song, Josh, while I was out of town, he became one of the biggest songwriters in the freaking world.
Conveniently enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I came back to town, and my record deal fell apart, and I was actually wondering what I was going to do at the time. And then I met a man named Frank Larry, who is Karen is our boss. We call her Boss Lady, and Frank was her husband, and he's passed since. But I just happened to come across him, and we had a lot of mutual friends online, and he was doing a lot of things in film and TV, and I asked him if I could send him some songs because I didn't know what the heck I didn't know my next move, you know.
Right.
And he said sure, and he liked them, wanted to hear more, and on and on and on. And 6 months later, I was signed to the company, you know. And they sent me to, of course, I started writing with Troy as soon as I signed with the company, or before I signed with the company, actually. And as soon as I signed with the company, they sent, basically, as soon as they signed me, they sent me out to Durango Songwriters Festival in Ventura, California, because I had a lot of connections with that Songwriters Festival. And while there is where I met Brett, you know, and the rest is history, you might say, because he already told what happened from that point on. So,
well, not everything.
well, it rained
Well,
8
enough.
inches.
That's enough.
I don't even want to hear everything.
It rained 8 inches the 4 days I was in California, by the way. We had landslides everywhere. I was like, geez, give me back to Tennessee where it's a little drier. What's that say?
Thanks, Mark.
Oh yeah.
Mark is an artist out of St. Louis, and
he's a blues artist.
He has he's a country singer, and he does a lot of stuff around the St. Louis area. Fairly popular. I don't want to praise him too much. I mean, he's a friend of mine. I don't want to give him too much praise because then he'll feel like I really do like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark,
Mark, you know, I wrote a song with Brett for that soundtrack, it didn't make it.
just to re-mention that.
I knew that was
Right.
coming.
Right. So you may love the soundtrack, but you never heard that song.
That's right. That's right.
Think you won't hear it.
Yeah. See, I thought I had a cut easy. I thought I had an inside track, you know.
Right. Oh my goodness. So when you guys, I mean, when you first got together, you've all had pretty good success as solo artists. I mean, prior to combining forces into Nashvillians. What let me pose this to Troy first. And Troy, I'm not picking on you for any reason, so please don't think that. But
Sure.
before you guys come together, I mean, did you ever think that this was going to be the route you went? That you were going to team up with a couple other guys and start a band? You know, kind of like Brad Paisley says, you know, start a band and.
No, not at all. I mean, I've always been kind of a solo artist from the get-go. So the idea of being in a band has never been a propensity of mine. But Brett approached me with this idea, and he had the name Nashvillians. And quick note though. George, we need to respell this Nashvilliansband.com. I want to make sure that people understand that it's AIN instead of IAN.
It's a common
Okay.
mistake. I saw
That's an easy.
All right.
You've said it correctly, which I commend you, because a lot of people can't even say it correctly. But he came to me with the name, and he and Scott were all three talking about it, and the idea of dark country really intrigued me, and the idea of trying to write stuff for a more cinematic nature that we could get into movies and TV. I love the idea of that, so that's why we got together, and to see, well, the first thing we have to figure out is, can the three of us write a song together? And we got together and found out that we could. So we wrote several songs over the course of a month. Dave?
Which is our next single. The first song we wrote is our next single.
Yes, oddly enough. Yes, the first song we wrote is our next single, which I think George is going to play.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Right.
And we'll get to that here in about 8 minutes or so. Usually about the halfway point through the show. You know, people that watch regularly kind of.
We're only halfway. We're out of things
only
to talk
halfway.
about. No, you don't.
I know. Hey, I got a lot of stuff here. Hey,
God,
the fun
you don't
is
ever
just
run out of things to talk about.
the fun is just beginning. The second half of the show really gets good.
Oh, good.
It picks up.
Is it truth or dare?
I've used that line before.
Yeah. And it didn't work on her either, right? So with you guys where you're at now, I mean, do you feel like you're more settled in being in a band, or I'm not trying to call somebody out and say, well, I like being a solo artist better than the other two guys go, we're going to ditch you. You know, I don't want you to do that.
We've already had all those conversations, George. You can't rile us.
So, I mean, do you, each of you, I mean, you can answer this just individually, but do you like the band better than the solo stuff?
I like having a project that we all collectively love, and we all collectively have something to write for and produce for, and we all have the same vision of it. And the chemistry, the chemistry of three people who have had such different careers coming together and doing this, it's just kind of cool. You know, I mean, we've all been in a lot of bands. All three of us have been in a lot of bands. And, you know, this is just one that just seems to just work.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we're...
Yeah, and he's right. I mean, the idea of having a vehicle to write towards, I mean, we're all professional songwriters and have been for a while. So it's been really nice to write for a project and a project that you know is going to do something, or at least if it doesn't do something, you're the reason it's not doing something. So,
Right.
you know, it's been a lot of fun to do this project and to keep writing for future albums and future songs and whatnot.
Well, and there's a lot of different opinions, you know. I mean, we all have very strong opinions about things, but but that's what makes it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do most of the talking. You know, I usually
Shut
I'm a really
up.
good listener.
Yeah, poor Scott. You are not a victim, my friend.
Hey, that's a good quote from Mark.
It is.
Carry on, gents. Individuals go fast, teams go far. That's true.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mark is a very motivational guy. He's another buddy of mine, very motivational, and he's actually a personal trainer. So, and not my personal trainer, because if you saw me stand up, you'd go, "You're lying." But he's an awesome guy. So he's got a lot of good stuff, a lot of good insight like that. So I'll put a lot of his stuff up when he hops on and comments. Now with coming into the band, and you guys feel like that you've had your solo success, I guess. I mean, I'm one of these people. It depends on how you define success.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yes, I've had a modicum of solo success. I'll give you that. Thanks.
Yeah. Some people define success as Kitty Chesney successful, where you own an island and you've got a couple of big boats that the girls swoon over, and you marry a movie star and then you divorce her within 6 months, that kind of thing, because you got to be true to LA. I mean, if she's
right. Well, I define that as successful as well. Carry on.
Yeah.
That's great. And then some people are success is just, humble. I feel like I'm successful, but I don't live in a mansion, and the only boat I have is the one I play with in the bathtub. So
I've been humbled.
Well, quite honestly, George, I think you're describing the difference between success and contentment. I mean, I think we all, I think we all want to desire contentment.
Let's be honest.
So yeah, I mean, professionally, yes, we have success under our belt, but. Truly, are you content? Well, depends on the day.
Right.
Well, let's be honest. It's a lot harder these days to be financially successful.
Doing this.
Talking about owning an island, than it was 20, 30 years ago, when you could, have a single on an album, or not even have a single, have a B-side on an album that sold 20 million CDs when people were buying CDs in record stores. You can make a fortune off of that. But now it's like you're making fractions of a cent for streams, and nobody's buying anything. So It's a whole different world.
Yes, you have to really want to do this today. Right?
Yeah.
And that brings up a really good point, because just from what you're saying, Brett, I'm going to say it this way. How streaming has hurt some artists. I mean, you could have, like you said, financially been a little bit more successful back in the days when the physical copies were going out, but now the streaming, they've cut it so low that it's hurt you guys.
Well, it's yes and no. I mean, the no part of it is you have worldwide distribution at a push of a button now.
Right.
Right. Really, what's happened is the income stream, or the money stream, has shifted. There's still plenty of money. It's just it's not in the hands of the owner of the copyright anymore. It's in the hands of the owner of the mechanical. I'm sorry, of the master.
Yeah.
So that's it's all. There's still plenty of money. It's just directed in a different way.
Hey, I wanted to shout out real quick. Skip Clark just put a post up there. I love Skip.
Yeah. Skip is if it wasn't for Skip, I wouldn't be doing this. I'll be honest with you. He mentored me through a lot of this stuff. And,
he's a good dude.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
If I have a question, I go to Skip and he answers it or he lies to me. I haven't figured out which one's right yet. But he's a great guy. So let's get to the about the point of the show where we want to talk about the music. I mean, you got a song out that's we're going to play that is your new single that we talked about, and it's called Tumbling Down. And after we play the song, we'll come back and we'll talk kind of the backstory of the song and that kind of thing, because I like to get that after people hear it. So this is Tumbling Down. It's from Nashvillians, and if you want to check it out, then you can check it out on all the streaming platforms and boost these guys' financial success a little bit. Okay. I have no problem plugging that, So this is Nashvillians with Tumbling Down.
Tens of dollars.
There you go. And before Nashville, before I go on with that, I do have to say it's being brought to you by Go-Go Tuners. Fantastic tuner. Is a go-to tuner for pros and amateurs alike. And if you want to check them out, they've got everything from pedal tuners to headstock tuners, and I own one myself, and I'm not a guitar player and can't tune a guitar, and thank goodness for that thing, because my guitars sound pretty good, although they probably need new strings by anybody's measure as a guitar player. But they hang on the wall to be pretty. So but this is Tumbling Down. It's on Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today.
I'm going to grab a drink. Do I have time to do that?
Hey, George. Scott, can you?
I don't think he can hear us, guys.
Okay, good. Is this just audio or is this all video? We don't know.
No.
Okay.
I hear the song playing though.
Yeah. I hope it's just audio because I'm looking at my kids half the time.
Troy smoked out there.
Troy, are you in the studio or are you home? What?
I can hear you.
I'm at home.
And Jacqueline got me into these things. They're actually pretty tasty.
What is it?
Yeah, Truly's that's a good brand.
Yeah, truly. And there's not much alcohol in it, I don't think. That's 5% actually.
I didn't know they had an alcoholic version.
Yeah.
I ain't been over here in a while. Pull this whole thing off the wall. That sounds pretty good.
He's gonna play there to catch me.
Huh?
I can't
I
hear
thought he
you.
was.
I thought that's what he was going to play.
Yeah. Well, it's not out yet, so that's probably good.
Yeah.
Oh, Troy, I sent you all the animations of the album cover.
You did what?
I did a bunch of animations of the album cover. I'll send them to you after we're done.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you weren't chiming in on our conversation yesterday, Troy.
No, I wasn't. I was busy, and it was just by the time I was ready to respond, I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? But it was like 46 texts. Jeez.
We were talking about Baptist ducks.
That meme I had of Robert Downey Jr. rolling his eyes back, that was so cool.
Yeah.
He's like, "Shut up, guys."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is Nashvillians and Tumbling Down. I know that wasn't very loud, guys. I'm having issues for some reason with my mixer. It's giving me fits tonight. That it worked fine, and then after the new computer decided it wasn't going to work, so now everything's not as loud. But that I love that song, and I'm trying to think. I don't like to compare bands, but it has a sound of another band, and I can't think of who it is off the top of my head, but I love the sound of it. I absolutely love that sound. The relaxed, laid back, and of course Troy's voice just kills on that. Who's handling the guitar work? Is that Scott?
I think the rhythm guitar,
studio.
I think it was Troy, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that started. That was one of the first songs we wrote, and we literally recorded it the day we wrote it. We figured out a tempo for it, and I was playing Brett's the big guy, the blonde,
Big Fat Gibson.
yeah.
Pete Townsend model.
Yeah. Anyway, I was playing that, and I didn't even have a pick, and it was just going to be a guide acoustic, and I laid down a scratch vocal the day we wrote it, and Brett came to us like a week later and had all this stuff on it, and ended up using that guide acoustic. And it survived bringing a band in, and I mean, it really came together nicely.
Well, sometimes as a producer, you get a little bit more of a vibe from the songwriters playing than you do a session player playing, because the session players play so flawless. Right. There's not as much of a thing behind it.
It takes the feel out of it sometimes.
Yeah, and there's a guitar player in LA I used to work a lot with named Tim Pierce, who's a really famous guitar player, session guitar player. And I would take a guitar track to him, and he would add all these other amazing guitar parts around it. And I was like, "Well, aren't you going to replay the acoustic?" He's like, "No, man." And he's like, "You can't replace. Sometimes you just can't replace that thing with the songwriter playing that vibe." It's just session players are not going to be able to get that. They're going to play it perfect. But
the imperfections is what gives it character.
Yeah.
I mean, just the playing, the whole thing sounds great. It's such a good song. And so you guys, you wrote it and then you went ahead and recorded it. Was it one of those that was kind of when you recorded it, were you intending to, or was it just like a pre-roll on the tape and use it as a scratch and it came out that way? Because it sounds freaking awesome.
It was one of those things. We put the track together, and Troy played and sang it, and Scott and I put dobro and mandolin on it and all that stuff, and it sounded really good. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "This is good," but I went in, I started looking through loops, and I was like, "Man, it'd be really weird to put a loop on this."
Right.
And I ended up finding that loop of the claps. And I was like, there's no way this is going to sound great. But I like to try a lot of things as a producer. And anything different and left of center. And I put it in there, and I was like, this is actually really cool, and kind of brings this whole thing to life a little bit.
Yeah.
And then after that, we ended up getting a session player. We had Evan Hutchins and Tom Bukovac came in and played drums and guitar and added to the loop. And I think Travis Vance played bass. I can't remember if that's him playing bass or me playing bass on that. I think it's probably him playing bass. I think it's Travis Vance on this. Yeah. But I mean, it's just it kind of kept morphing into something else and something else. So it was, but yeah, it's very, very turned into a very cool track.
Yeah, it is. It's I like, you know, everything you guys have done that I've listened to, because I've listened to several different, you know, things. Usually I'm a Spotify nerd and I like to listen to as much as possible.
Thank you.
And when I heard that, that was one of those that I would like, it get to the end and I'm pushing the back button, and it get to the end, I'd push the back button. You know?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, it's one of those ones we didn't expect it to kind of take off, and it's been very, you know, a lot of the fans have really just kind of honed in on that song.
Yeah, I just looking at Spotify a while ago, it was about it was over 100,000 streams.
I think it's almost at 200,000, I think.
Yeah, it was like 100, maybe 163 or 190, something like that. I mean, it was up there.
Yeah,
it was somewhere in that range. So I mean, that's impressive. How long has the song been out?
It's 4 or 5 months, something like that. 6 months.
Yeah,
maybe 5 months, something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, you know, you've got a song that's getting that kind of traction in a relatively short amount of time. That says a lot for the tune, and quite honestly, with it, or will have with it, because you're just releasing it. But I suspect you're going to see a lot of stations picking that up.
Well, I hope you're right. I know our radio promo team really likes it, and that's one that they're really excited about.
Yeah, we've gotten on several playlists, which has been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing, because that gets a lot of exposure with the playlist, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's kind of where the game's played now.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Everything shifts. I mean, you know, at social media, you went from Facebook to Instagram, and now the TikTok thing, and then, you know, before it was radio, and then it came along the streaming, and then it shifted into the playlist, and it's like, you know, I just, you know, why can't we be happy? Why do we have to change it all the time?
Technology, man, it's always evolving.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
Always
gosh.
evolving, you know?
Why
Exactly.
can't we be happy? That is a really big question, George.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this podcast can handle that big of a question.
Yeah, that's one that I could probably have a lot of folks input on that one.
Yeah.
It would make a cool song title, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't we be happy? It would be more of a political song, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Write that down,
Be
Scott. Write that
happy.
down.
Oh, I know, because of you.
Right.
That's it.
And since I gave you the title, you know, I don't ask for anything. I'm not a co-writer. I'm just.
Oh, yeah, that's why you didn't even bring it up.
Right. Hey, I want my 2/10 of a penny or whatever the heck it is now. So.
Right.
All right.
Oh man. All right. We're going to get into the fun part now. And I hope you guys can hear this. This is a little thing that I like to do. It's asking a little off the wall questions. And my favorite part is this is what it's called.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard that or not. It's called What the Hell.
I heard a sound effect, but I didn't hear anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of, I got to look into that. But this is one of my favorite things to do because I just ask off the wall questions. So I'm going to start with Scott on this one because he just looks like the kind of guy that likes to drink coffee. And I'm probably totally wrong on that.
Yeah, you actually are. You might want to end with Scott.
Yeah, just swap coffee with beer.
There you go. Okay, well, we'll do that then. Do you have a favorite beer mug? And if so, what's on it and what makes it your favorite?
Well, I just broke my favorite beer mug.
Oh, no. What a story.
It broke my heart too, man. It tore me up all day. But it was perfect. I could take a Miller Lite as my drink of choice. I could take it and just turn it upside down, just pour it in hard, and it would foam up and it would stop right at the top of the mug. It was perfect. It was perfect. And I broke it. So now I'm drinking my beer out of one of these, you know.
Oh,
Like a little igloo or something, you know.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know, if you break one, then you're thinking, I don't want to get anything that's glass, so I'm going to go to something that if I do drop it, it's not going to break. It's just the
Yeah.
top's going to pop off and the beer's going to spill. It's going to be a beer foul. So, you know, it's like
Yeah.
that. All right, Brett, let's go to you.
All right. What you got?
Let's look ahead on this one, okay? I'm going to see what kind of premonition that you have because your parents were good at it. Maybe you are too. You know, since they said you would play guitar and have long hair and join a band. So, in 40 years, what are people going to be nostalgic for?
In 40 years, what are they going to be nostalgic for?
Yeah.
That's a tough one, buddy.
Oh my God. In 40 years, what are people going to be nostalgic for?
I got one.
I think they're going to be nostalgic for good music.
Yeah, there you go.
We're not going to have good music in 40 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old. Like all the good bands were behind me. I don't know. There's some great bands now too, but I mean, I always love like. I don't know. I don't know if we're on the top of going to the top of the bell curve or the bottom of the bell curve. So,
right.
you know, I don't know. That's a good question. How about cars?
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
that never goes away. So
Yeah. I mean, classic. You know, here's one. Classic
It's not
cars.
just cars.
Well, cars you can work on.
Yeah,
You have to
it's
work on with your dad and go outside,
right.
pop the hood open. I mean, it's getting to the point where you have to have a computer to plug into your car to work on. You can't do the things you used to be able to do with a car.
right.
You know, I think that's one thing that's going to be missing.
Are you doing a lot of working on your car, by there, buddy? Is that something?
I did put washers today. No, it's all computerized. That's what I'm saying. It's it's computerized.
Oh man, I think in 40 years people will be nostalgic for gas for their car because everything's going electric.
Well, I don't think people are going to be driving themselves in 40 years. I think it's going to be, you know, they've got cars parallel parking themselves and everything. I think in 40 years, it's like Tesla. You're going to just sit back and it's going to drive you to your destination.
Right. Right. They have those autopilot ones out now and they scare you to death.
Yeah.
Okay, Troy, here's a good one for you. What's the best type of cheese?
The best type of cheese. For me, the smellier the better, man. I like a strong cheese. I like blue cheese. My favorite is blue cheese.
Yeah.
What's the one? The
Smellier the better, he
that's
says. And if you sit in a writing room with him, you know he's telling the truth.
That's why he gets his own.
If you sit in the room with me, you'll see the results of that.
I don't know about that C part, but you know, I don't think that's the sense that you can tell.
Right, yeah. It'll be a sixth sense. It'll be an innate sense.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, let's go back to you. Has anyone ever started a rumor about you, and what was it?
Who hasn't?
Oh, wow.
Goodness.
Has anybody ever started a rumor about me? Good. And you want me to say it on air? You know, that's
Yeah.
no. Anytime anybody's ever tried to start any kind of trouble or rumor with me, I'm like, I'll just say, is that all you got? You know, if you want some real dirt on me, just ask me. I'll tell you. That's all you got. I got a lot worse than that. I'll tell you freely.
I'll tell you what I remember anyway.
Yeah, that's right. No, nobody ever started any rumors on me that they didn't have pictures to prove it. So so that's just kind of let it go.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, okay, Brett, let's go to you. If humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
If I what? Say again.
If humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh my
Don't
God.
leave out in the sun. I don't know. That's a tough one, man.
You know what? I would say my warning label would say there's two sides to this coin.
Right. Check back with me in 15 minutes.
Mine would say, don't pull this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I've got a nice side and I've got a dark side. So I would say I've got there's two sides to this coin. That's
Right.
That's what I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe flammable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh my gosh. Let me see here. Oh gosh, I'm getting into the ones that aren't real fun now.
Okay, good. Bring it on.
Let's see.
That's right up Troy's alley there.
Yeah, I'm no fun at all.
Those are perfect for Troy.
Yeah. Here's a good one. Troy, have you ever licked a battery?
Yeah, I've licked the battery, of course.
That's what he did. That's so easy.
Yeah, of course.
I know.
I've got several, especially when you play guitar, you got to check your 9 volts. Yeah. So you got a 9 volt in your
exercise.
You always need a jolt to your day.
Exactly.
That's right.
You got to get your day going. All right, so Scott, we're going to go back to you. This will be the last round. Scott, we'll go back to you.
Right.
If you were out at dinner, you didn't have any cash or plastic with you, so no way to pay, what would you do or say to get the bill paid?
Hard job.
What would I'd say it wasn't worth paying for anyway. That was horrible.
No, you look over at I just in the other corner and say he's taking care of it.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Brett's over there. You got it.
I would start inquiring with the waiter how fast a runner they were.
Yeah.
What kind of shoes you got on?
To see if I was faster or not.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So, Brett, now this is one that I really like because it gets into to something really good here. Have your parents told you something as an adult that they kept from you as a child? Like they fessed up to something?
Gosh.
Oh my gosh. I get these.
But you're getting all the hard ones.
We didn't want you anyways. You were a mistake now.
Yeah, right.
Something they did. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so. Yeah, they're very honest people.
Yeah.
His name was almost Betty.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good one. My parents actually were going to name it Sterling. Was going to be my name.
Sterling.
Sterling.
Yeah.
So I'm glad
they pulled it there, my friend.
But they did tell me that they thought I was going to be. They said they thought I was
more successful.
Yeah, exactly. They thought I was going to be more successful. They gave me more of an alliteration of a name, Brett Boyett.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Oh,
all right, that's. All right, so Troy, I'm sorry. I tried to find a good one, and this is all I got, man. How do you feel about guys wearing pink? Because
I am totally fine with that. I'm fine with that as long as they call it salmon.
This is no lie. I have a friend, and a bunch of us were out golfing, and he doesn't like pink on guys, and so all of us got pink golf shirts to wear.
Oh, perfect.
And didn't tell him. So I thought that was great.
Well, so who won that game? Did he play good or bad?
He was on the winning team. I will tell you that. So.
Well, here's what
well, maybe that might have changed his mind about pink shirt.
Here's what I want to know: does Troy have anything pink? Because I've never seen anything pink.
No, I don't have any pink shirts.
Yeah, me either. No,
he said he didn't mind people wearing it. He didn't say he didn't mind wearing it.
All right.
Oh, let's see here. This is a great one. Scott, we'll send this one to you. What would be the creepiest thing you could say to somebody that you passed on the street, a stranger that you passed on the street?
Perfect for Scott.
And pull my fingers, not an option.
God. Oh my God.
Oh, man.
It's only weird the first time.
That's it.
It's always weird the first.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I was going to say. Hey, darling.
That's
You know, it's only weird the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had that conversation, George.
I look good in these
Oh.
parachute pants. The spandex look good on me.
I look better in skinny jeans. Oh, let's see.
I look better in your jeans. That'd be weird.
Yep, that's creepy.
Well, I'm not going to say that. My wife's probably watching. I'll get myself into trouble if I put that out there. So,
I keep my wife on her toes. That's what it is.
Is that a euphemism?
yeah.
I think she was
This is really evolving quickly.
It's going downhill quickly. Downhill quickly.
It's spiraling bad. It is spiraling bad.
Oh my
All
God.
right. Brett, here's your last one. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in somebody else's home?
Oh, you know, there's a buddy of mine, and he's a good friend of mine. He had like bats, like actual bats that were like taxidermied
Oh goodness.
in his house. Yep, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, that's
His name was an Aussie by chance, was it?
No, no, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else something weird, but yeah, everyone's got some weird little quirky thing that they're into. You don't really know until you go to their house. Yeah. Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ask my wife, she'd say her husband, I'm sure. So, all right. So, Troy, we're going to give you one last one, and this will wrap it up. If your office had a show and tell for adults, what thing would you be proud to display? Oh, God.
Oh goodness. Show and tell for adults. What would I be proud to show? Oh goodness. I have several rubber things in my office.
Dude, you are about 200 yards from my office. I'm not ever going to your office.
Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious. You know,
You got to be careful where you stay when you go to Troy's office.
yeah, I mean,
He must be hiding things.
I've got several microphones that you could that are very phallic in nature.
Call it.
Very large microphones.
Yeah,
Large
right.
And pink.
And
Yeah, right. Well, it could be.
oh my gosh. I was thinking that was probably going to head somewhere in that direction, but anyway, guys, that was great. So tell me what's going on for Nashvillians band. Where are you guys headed to? What's your show schedule looking like for the next month?
Well, we're not doing a lot of shows because everything's closing down again because of COVID and all the craziness with the world right now. But I will tell you, we've got a single coming out on 9/17, September 17th. And then after that, we've got our album coming out. And I will say one of the coolest things that we've done, I'm really proud of, is we have done a concept album, a country concept album that I've never heard of a country band doing a concept album before.
No.
So we did an album it's not The Wall, and it's like Pink Floyd The Wall, but that is a concept album. So if you're familiar with the Pink Floyd The Wall or Dark Side of the Moon or Operation Mindcrime from Queensryche or any of those kinds of concept albums, that's what this is, but country in our style.
That would be interesting.
And there's a whole overlying arc to the entire album of the story and everything, and it all fits nicely together. And I think I think we're all really proud of that. So,
Yeah.
and that's coming
Absolutely.
end of October, the full album.
End of October.
Yep.
All right. And is that going to be available in a physical sense or just digital? I mean, somebody wanted to get their hands on a physical copy. Could they do it?
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna do physical. I'm sure we'll do vinyl.
Oh, there you go.
For all the vinyl fans out there, collectors and things like that. Especially when we get to
those flash drives, whatever they're called.
What's that?
You know, those little flash drives. Is that what they call them things?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Cassettes are coming back, I heard.
Yeah.
There you go.
Seriously.
Really? That's just weird. But they, we finalized the art, I think last night actually, for the album cover, and it's pretty cool. It's all it's gonna be really cool. So
yeah,
and that'll be available at the website to purchase.
Yeah,
and shows when you guys do remember shows, right? I mean, after 2 years,
we've done some.
Well, one thing we are going to start doing because of the COVID thing, because we can't go tour, which really sucks because of everything going on, is we're going to start doing a lot more online streaming shows. So we're going to look at doing 1 or 2 online streaming shows a month. We're working on that right now with a company who's going to host us and market it, and people can
until we can get out on the road to the people. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was a big hit when COVID was unleashed and the world shut down. That was a huge hit with being able to keep up with artists, and I think that was one of the things I didn't get into earlier is, the way that Nashville and other places kind of evolved in an emergency. The Zoom rights and that kind of thing, I'm sure they were all there before because of distance, but it made it a lot more prevalent. And doing the social media shows and the theater shows, the drive-in shows, those kind of things.
Well, again, there's a lot of things that you can do with that you can't do with touring. I mean, we can do a live show and people in, Africa or Israel or wherever in the world can watch it.
Right.
As well as being in the bar that we're in, so that's the benefit of that. Mm-hmm. And they can buy our merch. We've teamed up with a company so they can buy our merch while we're performing. They can buy the album while we're performing. You can do all that. Download it. It's really cool. It's really cool.
You can buy this beautiful hat.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you can buy the hat right off my head. You can buy it. We'll
That's a discounted price.
No, it costs you more because I wore it.
Oh, okay. All right. That's kind of like Troy's T-shirt.
Yeah.
I see his T-shirt.
He's got. I think that's a song that Scott wrote. Wasn't that right?
Oh, that's what it is. Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got the same T-shirt. Yeah.
Tim Gates T-shirt.
Yeah.
It's Song Like Me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my first plaque on the wall for that one. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good. First piece of hardware right there out of a T-shirt. Oh, the song. I'm sorry.
The song, yeah.
Well, guys, I tell you what, it's been great. You guys have been fun to hang out with and to chat, and I really appreciate it. And I thank you for your patience after, I thought the guest host thing was really good. Y'all did do a good job. So thank you for that.
Are you talking about
Thank you, George.
Are you talking about the one last time in Mexico?
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever done. That's amazing.
It was great. I'm sitting here talking. I'm like, I got nothing.
Well, because the technology, like you were freezing and we were freezing, and then it was like, so it was just a mess. But it was fun though. It was fun.
Well, I appreciate you for guest hosting the show. I'll have to have you come back on sometime.
Well, appreciate you having
Absolutely.
So I've enjoyed talking to you guys. Again, check them out, Nashvilliansband.com. Also, go to all the streaming sites and check out the music, and keep your eye out in October for this concept album. I'm going to have to get the vinyl of that because I love vinyl. I just love the way it sounds.
Cool.
And so I'm going to have to get the vinyl of that and check it out. And just kick back and relax, because if it's like I think it's going to be a very good album. So
yeah. Thank you, George.
Thank
You're welcome, guys. Well, y'all take care. Have a great night, and we will be talking to you again very soon. All right.
All right. Thank you, George.
All right.
See
Don't
ya.
forget,
Bye,
Before
George.
Nashville is brought to you every Monday and Thursday by Go-Go Tuners. All right. GoGoTuners.com. Go check them out.
Go Tuners. All right.
Go Tuners. It's a really good tuner. So
I'm going to check those out too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got them all. They've got the pedal tuners and they have the headstock tuners. So you guys go check them out as well. And if you guys go there, I'm trying to talk them into giving me a discount code to put out. And I haven't. We're in talks about that. So if that comes out before long, I'll send that to you. And then
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
can use the discount code.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night, and thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Bye, George.
Thanks,
Travis,
See ya.
we'll see you.